Hello and welcome to the shop. I've noticed lately, obviously, that I've gotten a ton of new subscribers. Most of you guys saw Tom Lipton's video and came from over there. So, as most of you know, I sent him basically a lathe tool height setter, a bigger version than this one for his lathe. This is the one that's set for the center height for mine. So, since I got so many new people coming in, I figured I'd kind of just do another quick introduction just to let you guys know what this is all about. Obviously, I don't know if it's in frame or not, you guys can see the pipes above my head, but we're in my cellar of my house. And this is my shop where I kind of tinker with a bunch of different things. Obviously we got the machining stuff, I have my lathe and everything else, but I also do a little bit of electronics. And I have a few different tool reviews and stuff, and I also have some videos and stuff of jobs from work. Now this isn't the most plush shop in the world. We're about 21 feet by 21 feet in the shop slash laundry room. I have my washer and dryer in the corner, but everything down here I pretty much did rebuilt this. If you watch some of the other videos, you'll notice that I was in another shop previously, so that's much bigger. They have black and white tile. I since moved. That was the older house. I moved out of there and into this house. So if you see the gray and blue tile on the floor, that's the new house. So everything in this shop I pretty much did. I built this wall here. They put that up, put all the doors up, did all the electrical down here, and did all the lighting. And I do have videos of those as I went along. But as far as equipment goes, I mean, we got the 9-inch South Bend lathe here, which was originally a Model B with the change gears that I had converted to a Model A by adding a quick change gearbox. And I also added, got rid of the small dials and added the large direct reading dials. I have a South Bend drill press, the 14-inch drill press. It's a benchtop model, it's not the floor stand model. With the high-speed pulley in the middle. I have that. Those are the two kind of main big pieces of equipment, metalworking equipment. You have to kind of have the support equipment to go with it. I have a little 4x6 Harbor Freight bandsaw. Not the greatest thing in the world, but it sure as hell beats a hacksaw. And I have general tools and things like that, and tooling to go with the lathes of collets and whatnot. I also have some woodworking stuff like there's a table saw behind me it's probably out of frame, and a router table and stuff that I have over the side that I use to do various things. And I have no real milling facilities. I do have a milling attachment for the lathe, but I kind of try to avoid using that if I can. I don't particularly like using it, but if the situation calls for it, I will. So most of it's limited to lathe work and things that can be done on the lathe, and because of that fact, some of the things that I've done had to be done in kind of a different way than normal, or a harder way than normal, to get around the fact that I only have the lathe and the drill press to make them. But and then I also have hand tools, electronic stuff like soldering irons or whatnot, and things like that. So, just a little bit about me. I am not a machinist. I don't profess to be a machinist. I'm just a guy in his cellar that has learned how to use the lathe by watching other people and experimenting and screwing up, and figured I'd pass along some of the things that I've learned to other people and show some projects that they can do, because I know finding strictly lathe projects and things to make can be hard and a little daunting. My chosen trade is I am an HVAC tech. I fix light commercial air conditioning and refrigeration, usually mostly in restaurants and things of that nature. That is my day job, and you'll see a few videos of that up here, and also some tool reviews and things pertaining to that particular trade in here. My first taste of actual machining was in high school. I went to a vocational high school, and your freshman year you had to go through all the shops, and obviously one of the shops that we went through was machine shop, and you would do each shop for a week. So actually 2 weeks. You would be actual hands-on for a week and then classroom time for a week. So I went through that shop and I absolutely loved it. I actually, as a matter of fact, I still have the keychain that we made in that class. Still on my keychain to this day. I also, in one of my toolboxes over here, have the tap wrench that we made. I loved the shop. It was great, and it was a very, very big shop. All the lathes were belt drive, and I'm almost positive, I'll be honest with you, I can picture them in my mind, and they looked like a self bend, but I can't 100% confirm that they were self bends. They were 13 or 16 inch, somewhere in that frame. And then they had a couple of manual milling machines. They had one CNC milling machine that I remember, which was basically just the Bridgeport one with the CNC stuff on it. I don't know what exactly you would call that, but they had that there too. That's the equipment that I remember playing with when I was in there. And I loved the shop. I was actually going to take the shop, but at the time, my friend's father owned his own machine shop. He was basically just a job shop and would take things in from all the business around here, around my side of Massachusetts. And at that time is kind of when a lot of the manufacturing in Massachusetts was downsizing and kind of ramping down. Polaroid was still around and still a big player, but they were starting to kind of wind down their manufacturing here in Waltham. Even GE was starting to kind of wind down manufacturing. Kodak was having trouble. I mean, we're talking late 90s, mid to late 90s. So all those big players, at least in my area, were kind of starting to wind down and starting to close doors and things like that. So a lot of the independent machinists around this area kind of went bye-bye. And his shop, actually I think his shop might still be in existence, but it got hit really, really hard. I know they downsized a lot. And he was the one that kind of talked me out of the trade, saying that right now is just not a good time to do it. So I never got into it. Everything there kind of fell by the wayside, and I never thought anything of it. So skip ahead until, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, 7-8 years ago. My wife, well actually my fiance, we haven't had the wedding yet, but very shortly after I met her, her father had passed away suddenly. And he was a truck driver. He drove a low bed for a heavy equipment company. So he was the one that basically delivered those giant Caterpillars and Bobcats and stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do was to build because at the time, and even still now, I dabbled and built in scale models and stuff. And I wanted to build her a model of her father's truck, which is still not finished. It's a perpetual work in progress here. But it was a Max CH, and this is pretty much as far as I got going there. These obviously aren't attached, but and the biggest problem I was having, I think I have one here somewhere. Give me a second. Yeah, the biggest problem I was having with building this was the gas tanks. I couldn't get them to look shiny, and no matter what I did. And I got kits and stuff like that, which are basically just a piece of PVC with 2 end caps. They were garbage, pretty much. And you know, that's as shiny as I could ever get it. So I started looking into, you know, how people built those, how people made these. Because people go all out with these things and try to make them as accurate as possible and everything else. So I tried to look at their techniques and how they did it. And a lot of guys would take and turn aluminum in those little, in a small lathe. So then I started looking at lathes, and I started looking at the little 7x10 piece of garbages from Harbor Freight, started looking at those. And then, you know, got more and more into wanting one and looking at one. And then, you know, it took a few years, took actually a good 3, maybe 4 years to find one that I wanted, that would fit what I wanted to do with it at the time and wasn't going to break the bank, and that I could actually physically move. And ended up being that South Bend over there. So that's kind of how I got into it. Oh, and he, one of his other kind of prized possessions was his Dodge Magnum RT at the time, and which got passed to my wife, which unfortunately she couldn't keep because she kept it for a summer, but she couldn't keep it during the winter because it was a RT. It was rear-wheel drive, and actually, that's it right there. The wires are these actually headlights and stuff light up. But anyway, so that's kind of how I wanted to. That's how I kind of accidentally stepped into machining, and I stepped into YouTube by looking around, by trying to find projects. Basically, I tried like hell to try to find projects that you can make with just a lathe, or beginner projects, or things like that. And try as I might, it took forever to find something that I could make, that I was capable of making, or even if you don't have somebody that is willing to teach you how to grind a tool bit or something like that, or it's kind of hard to get that first step and that first foot in the door. So that's when I started watching YouTube videos, and I got in, you know, people. I'll be honest, I didn't come across. I'm trying to think of who I came across first. Probably Mr. Pete. I know I didn't come across Keith Fenn until a little later, and I didn't come across Tom Lipton until a little later than that, and a little later than Tom, I came across Adam Booth. And just by watching videos from multiple people, not just them, even John Mills, Double Boost over in England, just watching videos that even now I watch them, and you know, you get tips and everything about it, and reading some books here and there. It's kind of how I learned, basically taught myself how to work the lathe, how to make a part, how to read a micrometer, how to make the cuts to get the diameters and everything you want. And that's how I started out. And it was that first step was so much of a leap, was so much of a kind of a pain to get over. You know, you throw something in the lathe, you try to make something, you screw it up, you get discouraged. You do it again, you screw up again, you get even more discouraged. And you don't know if you're doing something wrong, or you don't know what exactly you're doing wrong to have that outcome, because you have, like me, nobody to sit there and ask. But you know, after a while of watching those videos and things like that, you kind of got the hang of it. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and yeah, I still screw up to this day. It's just what happens. But from all those experiences and stuff like that, I wanted to kind of pass that on to somebody else, just to kind of get over that one little step. I mean, the biggest hurdle in the world is grinding. The biggest first hurdle is grinding a tool bit that can actually cut something. You know, and get a good finish on it. And figuring out how to speeds and feeds, you know, just by playing. That frustration of going through it and getting it wrong so many times, and then that one time you get it right and everything works out perfectly, and that little light bulb goes off. You're like, oh, that's how you do it. I kind of want to take away that, not necessarily the learning curve, but that leap that you have to make, just to make it a little bit of a softer landing and a little bit more of an attainable thing. So if there's any little thing that I can do to kind of help somebody out with that, just even that first step, is what this channel is for, in the machining stuff. And the other stuff is just kind of things that I throw in there that I think some of you guys would find interesting. The stuff that I have at work, same way. That's my trade. That's what I know. That's my profession. I've been doing that for 15 years. I know a lot about that. I know enough about machining. I don't know everything about machining. I don't even know everything about refrigeration, but I do know a lot about that. So a lot of the stuff that I have on that is to pass that on to somebody that's just entering that particular trade, because that's my expertise. The machining stuff, like I said, I know enough, but obviously I haven't been doing that for 15 years. I'm just playing in the basement for the past, 4 years. But I like to try to do a video every week. This week has been kind of hectic, and it is the a holiday weekend, so I haven't really got anything to show for this week. I did go down to the flea market today, and I got completely skunked. Our flea markets around here kind of suck, to be completely honest with you. I mean, a lot of the stuff is the people that just don't want to sell stuff. They're just there for the interaction, and not necessarily there to sell the stuff. There are a few people and a few deals to be had here and there, but a lot of the stuff I already had, and the stuff that I wanted was just way out of proportion. Like, a case in point, I went up to a guy. He had a little 4-inch combination square with the center finder. It was a Lufkin. It was really little cute little square, about 4 inches long. Asked him how much he wants for it. He said he wanted $65 for it. Really? The only decent deal that was around there is there was a wooden toolbox that's smaller than my Gerstner. It was the 7-drawer toolbox. It wasn't a Gerstner. It was I believe a Piliod, one of their competitors, and they wanted $150 for that, for the toolbox with everything in it. But there was nothing really in it. Digging through it, the only thing that was in there was a surface gauge and a micrometer. Everything else was just a couple of gauge blocks and just miscellaneous kind of junk. So I don't need another toolbox right now. I'd rather spend the $150 on something I really need. So I didn't get that. Hopefully, maybe next week. Maybe it could be just that it's the holiday weekend here. So hopefully, maybe next week I can go to a different flea market and see if I can find some other stuff. But anyway, so. The only thing I'm going to try to do tonight is I want to make a new mount on my lathe for the camera to get some camera angles. Let me just swing you around here real quick just to show you. Oh yeah, there's the table saw, there's the washer and dryer, because you got to have those in the shop. There's my grinders and everything are over here, and this is my Gerstner toolbox. Is the big drill press, which actually that's got to go in for a good workup. That needs new bearings. I replaced the bearings in the motor, but I never replaced the bearings in the actual quill, and they're starting to squeak. So before they completely go kaput on me, I do need to change them. So that's definitely going to be a project for another day. But anyway, I'm going to want to make a camera mount, and I'm going to try to use this light that I have mounted here. I'm gonna get another light, which apparently nobody sells these anymore. Either that, or if they do sell them, to like $100 and something bucks. Like, I think I got that at Staples for like 25 bucks. So actually, IKEA actually has lamps like that, and I think they're like 30 bucks. So I think I'm gonna order another one. And what I want to do is I want to mount this one, the swing arm, actually to that wall, and then kind of make a camera mount on it too, so I can boom it out over the lathe and get a little bit of better angles. Because right now I'm kind of just throwing the tripod up behind there, and it kind of gets in the way, and it got some shitty angles. So I'm going to work on that right now and see what I can do with it. I may or may not add it into this video or not, but we'll see. So either way, we'll see you on a video at some point. Thank you guys for watching, and hope you new people there enjoy the channel. And all you people that have been here since the beginning, thank you, and hope you still enjoy the channel. Okay, there it is. This is the new camera mount. That's going to be hanging over the lathe here. So that's up and out of the way. I got my fully adjustable. This is the top to one of the. This is actually a top to a cheap, like $15 tripod. I just had a machine an adapter to go from this here to a stud that this would clamp around. So let me just get you up here. Okay, so I can tilt you right down and we're right over the lathe. I can get you right in up top. Can get you down and in line, or up and above this way. So I got a bunch of options here, so hopefully I can get some better angles on the newer videos, and that's pretty much it for this video, and soon we'll be making some more parts.